Abe here with a new Armada battle report. So we are going to be doing the first Wave 2 400 point battle report here, taking the big guys on each side, the MC80, the Imperial Star Destroyer, showing off all the new stuff. So we're really excited about that. I'm going to be playing the Rebel fleet today. I'm taking a really different fleet than I've ever played with Rebels before. Normally I play a really squirrely maneuver fleet, and this time I'm going with the big bruisers. So we're going to have the MC80, we're going to have a Rebel Assault Frigate, and we're going to have the MC30 Scout Frigate. And of course we've got Admiral Ackbar leading the way. So this is the big broadside line of battle fleet. Try it out. We'll go over my fleet in a bit and the missions, but I'm going to try out something really new, and we're going to see how Wave 2 has really changed the game and how Rebel players play differently now. So we'll be back with you in a minute.
Hi BoLS fans, Larry VELA. I'm here. I'm on the bridge of my awesome Star Destroyer. Check it out. Okay, so I'm running the Imperials. Same thing. We're doing 400 points. We're doing Wave 2. We have all of the Wave 2 ships here. So I am running both an Imperial Star Destroyer 2 at clocking in at 120 points base. So that's going to be really exciting for me. It's big. It's huge. It's giant. It's a bruiser. It's got that awesome 8 dice forward attack. And then I'm running an Imperial Raider along with it. I'm running a Raider 1. Talk a little bit about that soon. And then I'm running a pair of Gladiators. So I'm definitely going to be trying to do and a little tiny squadron, a little bit of squadron. On my side, I'm going to do something kind of tricksy with them, and when I go over the list, I'll talk about that. So it looks like this is kind of an interesting one. Both of our fleets, both the Rebels and the Imperials, we both have a big giant bruiser ship. But then I actually, for the first time, because it's Wave 2, the outside of the MC80 and the Imperial, the rest of my fleet is faster and more maneuverable than the Rebels. So I have no idea what that's going to look like. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be cool, and we'll get right to it. All right, BoLS fans, I am back. Here's my fleet really quick. There's the models. So we have the Raider. Look how tiny it is. And then 2 Gladiators. Look at that. Look at this monster ship. It's huge. It is just enormous. And then my 4 squadrons. We have 2 TIE Advance and 2 Interceptors. We're going to go over them. Okay, so here's the fleet. That's my iPhone. It's not taking part in this battle. Okay, so we have Gladiator 2. There's a pair of them. These are all identically armed. So we have 2 Gladiator 2s. They each have assault concussion missiles. And assault concussion missiles, for those of you who don't know, if you roll a black critical result, each hull zone adjacent to the defending hull zone suffers 1 point of damage. So basically they can do 2 extra splash damage kind of on adjacent hull section. So it's really good. And they both have them. The Raider, we took the Raider 1 because the Raider 1 is a missile boat, and it can take the missile shot, so it also has them. So we have 3 ships that are all, that's pretty much the mobile missile contingent of the fleet. Then we have the big bad boy over here. Here's the Imperial 2. It's 120 points. Look at these crazy guns it has. And we are running it with a gunnery team, which is going to let it fire out of the forward arc twice. It can't fire at the same target, but it can fire forward. I definitely want to try to maximize that big 8 dice broadside. So I'm a fan of gunnery teams on ships, on any ship that has 1 arc with some crazy amount of dice on it. And then we are running Screed, and we're running Screed because he can change. He allows your fleet. For those of you who don't know, after you roll all your dice, he can basically burn one of your dice and take it out of play when you attack to turn any one other die into a critical result. Which you'll notice all these concussion missiles do that splash damage if they achieve a critical hit. So Screed is the perfect admiral to use if you're building a fleet around causing lots of advanced concussion missile hits. Over here on my squadron, doing something kind of tricky. I want to see if it's going to work out. What we have here is we have Sunterfell, an interceptor squadron, and 2 TIE Advance. And what the TIE Advance do is they have this rule called Escort. And what Escort does is squadrons you are engaged with cannot attack squadrons that lack Escort unless you're performing a counterattack. So what that means is basically if there's a big giant scrum of fighters, they have to choose they have to kill the TIE Advance first. They can't attack attack squadrons that don't have Escort, which means these TIE Advance are going to get engaged in a big giant dogfight, and they're going to get killed first. But they can take 5 points of damage, and they're pretty decent. And more importantly, while they're busy, while hopefully people are busy fighting them, you have people like Sunterfell and the Interceptors are just sitting there beating up on them, doing extra damage and special abilities, while because these guys can't actually be attacked initially. So pretty cool. That's my fleet, and I'm going to hand you over to famed Rebel General Abe, and we'll see what tricksy stuff the Rebels are planning.
Alright, BoLS fans, Abe here with my Rebel fleet for this battle. So like I said, I've got just 3 ships, and they're all pretty big for the Rebels. I've never flown any of these ships before. I've really been a CR-90, the Corellian Corvette, a Nebula B kind of guy before now. So this is something really different for me. And they're also really tricked out. We got a lot of upgrades on them. So starting off, we got the big MC80, the Mon Calamari cruiser, the Home One class here. It's the assault cruiser variant, so it does start at 114 points, and riding on that's my Admiral Akbar, and his ability is that any of my ships, if they choose to shoot out of only their side arcs, can add 2 red dice to their attacks. So he's going to benefit all of my ships and hopefully add a lot of extra dice. So you'll notice that my MC80 here, actually dice for dice with Akbar, puts out 8 dice, which is the same amount of dice that the Imperial puts out, but I've got more at long range. I've taken the Defiance title on this ship, and that allows it, when I'm attacking a ship that's already activated, to add an extra dice to my attack. Because it's an extra dice added to the attack of any color, I can add dice outside of their normal range, like a black or a blue dice at long range instead of a red dice, which is pretty cool. I paired that with the Leading Shots Ion Battery card, which lets me spend a blue dice when I'm attacking, remove it to reroll all my other dice. So if I'm attacking at long range against a ship that's already attacked, I have 6 dice, red dice, I can add a blue dice, and then I can lose my blue dice to reroll all my attacks if I want to, which I think is pretty good. Then we've got to go ahead and put advanced projectors on here. That lets me redirect shields more efficiently to make me more survivable. Ramus Antilles is the captain of this ship. Hopefully he won't get choked by Darth Vader this time. He makes it so that anytime I make a command, I also get a command token, making all my commands a lot better. We've got engine techs, which let me do an extra move here and there, and electronic countermeasures, which lets me still use my defense tokens even if they've been aimed away. And then I've got the X-17 turbo lasers on there, which makes his redirects a lot worse. Doesn't do anything against brakes. We're going to go over to my assault frigate. It's a Mark II-B, so it's still got a good broadside here though. You'll notice again 3 red dice, which is going to go up to 5 with Akbar. Gunnery team on that, so it can fire twice. Electronic countermeasures, and also the X-17 turbo lasers. And then last but not least, we got my scout frigate here. This one's, again, pretty tricked out. We went with the scout frigate variant, which has the long range red dice, so it'll have 4 red dice with Akbar, and then if they get close, I'm going to add 3 black dice to that. So hopefully that'll be an incentive for some of the ships not to close too quickly with me. This one has the Foresight title card, and that means whenever I spend a redirect or an evade, it's basically twice as effective. So at long range, my redirects or my evades can actually cancel 2 whole dice, which is pretty nice. Then I went ahead and took turbo laser reroute circuits on this ship, which means when I'm attacking, I can use one of my evade tokens to let me change a red dice to have either the 2-hit icon or a crit icon, which is cool. Electronic countermeasures, so I can keep making my defense moves. Gunnery teams, so I can shoot twice. I've also got the assault concussion missiles on here, so again, if they get close, I'll activate those 3 black dice with assault concussion missiles, hopefully mess them up there. And then I've got, as an officer on here, Walex Blissix, which is when I activate, I can discard him to get one of my defense tokens back. So hopefully if I end up having to lose a defense token through using this turbo laser reroutes and defensive maneuvers and stuff, I'll be able to get it back. So that's my fleet. Only 3 ships, but I am a few points under, so hopefully I'll have the initiative, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, everybody, we are back. The board is set up. Let's go over this. We have our asteroids. We have an asteroid right there, an asteroid right here, debris field. Actually, that was a debris field. The big base is right there, and we have more asteroids over there. And where's the other one? Oh, right, and the one way over here. Okay, so there's our 6, and then those are our 6 obstructions, and then we have our actual objectives. We have 5 of them. We are playing intel sweep. So we have 1, 2, 3. These are placed near my side, and then we have 4 and 5 over there. Here's the kind of lay of the table, and then this is how we deployed. We have Akbar, the rebels over there, set up in line astern. I'm sure they're planning on doing lots of broadside. So we have the MC30 up on the front. We have the assault cruiser in the middle, and Home One in the back. And then over here, we have kind of directly facing them, we have the ISD, both the Gladiators, and then I have my little squadron over here with 2 TIE Advance and 2 Interceptors over here. And then way over on this side over here, I have my Raider, who is planning to just quickly do a ding 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 and grab those three objectives and then try to get into the game. So we will see what happens there. Okay, we are at the bottom of 1, and as you can see, both of our fleets have kind of moved out. It is Armada, so not a giant amount of combat is happening on turn 1. But we've definitely started to, the Rebels are doing kind of a little hook maneuver here. If you remember that they started one behind each other, and they're definitely not facing in that direction now. So Abe, what were you thinking as far as actual movement goes and kind of...
Well, the plan here is just to do a quick turn, cut across his front, and then head off that way towards more of the objectives.
Okay, I definitely kind of fell for the bait, kind of didn't. The Gladiators started to turn in a little tiny bit. You can see that these 3 ships are not all exactly pointed in the same direction anymore. But the Gladiators also are kind of, you know, they have. If you look at their guns, they have 4 dice front, side, and front and side. So they're good brawler ships. They can kind of get in there and mix it up, as opposed to the ISD that definitely kind of needs to keep its nose facing the right direction. It has 8 on the front and then it has 4 on the side. So these can be a little more aggressive, but in general we're kind of moving up towards each other. My super anti-squadron plan is not going to work because they have no enemy fighters to fight against. So in general, we just moved up, and all the fighters are up and kind of they're up around the outpost, which will give them some repairability. And then way over here on the left flank, the Raider just zoomed up at speed 4, so he's right next to the first objective, so he will be trying to grab that one next turn. And that's all we got. That's no shots were fired, and we are headed into turn 2. All right, everybody, we are back. It is turn 2, and as you can tell, there is a fierce battle taking place. We have all kinds of stuff going on. The Rebels started off, they activated Home One, and Abe, why don't you talk a little bit about what Home One did during his activation?
That's actually the Defiance.
Sorry, the Defiance.
Yeah. Defiance took a pot shot at this Gladiator, put a point of damage on it, and then just swung around here.
You used an interesting combo to do a pretty interesting maneuver with him. What did you end up doing with him?
So, what he ended up doing...
Because he was pretty far back there.
Right. Because I have Ramus Antilles, last turn when I did a maneuver op to command, I also got a maneuver token, which let me do a maneuver command again this turn, which then let me activate my engine techs to do a speed 1 maneuver after I had already completed my speed 2 maneuver.
Yeah, so you move speed 2, and then you got another one on top,
speed 1.
Which was pretty interesting.
So it's effectively moving speed 3. I also had concentrated firepower, which again with Ramus Antilles I also got the token, so I got it to get a few dice thrown at him. Didn't really do too much damage, but we got a few dice in there. And we ran all the way up here. Yep,
so as you can see, that ship definitely moving a lot faster than you would assume a ship that large should be moving. That can only move speed 2. The Gladiators kind of moved up into this little pocket. They put out a lot of firepower. We did have a collision. It was an intentional collision. I had a choice. I could have avoided it, but I decided that because of the way the Rebels were pulling, or are kind of moving in this direction over here, I didn't want my Star Destroyer to have to peel off to the right, which would put it kind of painfully out of position. So instead, we just went ahead and kept his nose pointed in the proper direction, took the hit. He hit the Gladiator that was in front of him, so they both taken 1 face down damage, and all of these guys opened up on the Defiant. Defiance.
Defiance.
Defiance. And actually, we had a pretty good round of shooting. We did a whole lot of damage to it. This ship has advanced projectors, so he was moving damage around all over the place. But you can see that side shield is down from 4 to 1. The front shield is down from 4 to 1. The rears are down from 3 to 2. And I think he might have and the very far one is still intact. We put a small amount of damage on the ship, nothing meaningful. And then also his MC30 picked up 1 objective token, so he's gotten 1. And way over here, the I have to say, Hot Rod, amazingly fast and maneuverable Raider also picked up a defense token and moved into position to pick up a second one. So I think, as you can tell on this, it's looking crazy. Turn 3 is going to be just insane. So we'll see what both of our admirals can manage to pull out of this one. And we'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, we are back. It is turn 3, and as you can tell, we knew it was going to be a super crazy turn, and it was a super crazy turn. So, we're going to kind of go through what happens. You remember most of the Imperials kind of used to be in this area over here, and the Rebels were over here, and it's kind of become a really tight spiral now. The Rebels are circling around this way, and the Imperials are kind of coming around this way, and then the Raider, who had started way over here, has now actually made it all the way into the fight. First thing off is both of us captured 2 more objective tokens, so we're both at 2 each. I got 1 and he got 1, and we are now going to be headed into turn 4 here. So the first thing that happened was Home One moved, and Abe, what did Defiance do?
Defiance went first and actually got the kind of classic hope for double broadsides out of one side. It was back here.
Yep.
And it had the Raider on one side.
The Raider was over there, and the other
Gladiator here.
Yeah.
So we opened up on the Raider first.
Totally messed it
up. Took it down to 1 hit point. Couldn't quite kill it. Did the exact same thing to the Gladiator. Actually, took it down to 1 hit point.
Yeah. So 2 fully intact ships. That thing sailed in between them. Just he rolled huge amounts of dice, and also he rolled. Both of those were really hot rolls.
They were hot rolls.
So he got lots
and
of.
I was getting 8 dice out of each side.
Yeah, and both of those attacks had 3 accuracies.
Yeah.
So he just stripped all the defensive tokens off.
Yeah.
So the ships just had to take it.
Messed them up, and then I actually moved here again using my token using a token I had to get over there.
Yeah. With the engine tech.
Yeah, and get out of the way of damage. No, that I didn't engine tech this turn.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. This was a normal turn.
Okay.
But I really got out of the way of any close range retaliatory damage.
Yep. Which was really good for you.
Yeah.
Then my Gladiator, which is no longer with us, the one that was right here, Gladiator 1, found himself at the start of this turn within range band 1, slightly angled, so he could put both of his of those pretty nasty black dice volleys into right into the Rebel assault frigate, which is over there, which is no longer with us. And so he opened up. He had concentrate firepower, which combined with screed, and his assault missiles also did a really good amount of damage. Couldn't kill it, but hurt it pretty badly. And then he, unfortunately, because he was right in front of it, he'd been previously damaged. He was down to 1 hit point, and he couldn't avoid a collision, and he hit it, which did another point of damage to the assault frigate, but killed himself. So he blew up. He was lost in the collision. Gladiator number 2. Oh yes, the assault frigate.
Assault frigate went next. It actually got gunnery team off, so it managed to shoot up the Gladiator a little bit.
Yep.
And shoot up the Star Destroyer a little bit. Lost a lot of shields on the Star Destroyer.
Yep.
And then it had moved up right here, right behind the Defiance, but it was in range band 1.
Yeah, and it was in really bad shape. All of its shields on the.
It had 1 shield on every side.
Yep. And it was down to 3 hull points left, but this little tiny the Raider once again the Raider with no forward shields and only 1 hull point left found himself at range band 1 of it, and if you look on that, he's got 2 black and 2 blue. He had a critical in effect, so he was down a die, and those I pulled a blue off of it, so we had 2 black and 1 blue, and it was 2 double
crits.
And then a hit.
And a hit.
No, and accuracy.
Yeah.
And just due to the combo, we activated the splash damage on the concussion missile, so we ended up doing the 2 from that plus the additional 4, and that did it.
Took all my shields and killed the ship.
So that little guy finished off the assault frigate, and then at the very end, the Star Destroyer moved up, took some pot shots, just knocked out shields on both of these, nothing really crazy. And then finally, all of the squadrons that had been parked on this moved over here. Oh yes, the MC80.
The MC30 also did manage to get good shots off. It did some damage to the other Gladiator, and most importantly, it lit into the Star Destroyer and really rolled pretty much perfect. Got 7 hits.
Oh, yeah.
7 hits on the Star Destroyer and activated the concussion missile. So I stripped most of his shields off and did 3 hull points. So the Star Destroyer is actually taking some damage here.
Yep. Yeah. So the Rebels are down to 2 ships, but their ships are actually in pretty good shape. I'm down to 3, but most of my ships are pretty beat up. So it's really dicey now. And we're headed into 4, and it's going to be. I predict that some of these ships will no longer be here at the end of 4. We'll check back with you guys soon. Okay, it's turn 4, and as we predicted, there are some ships who are no longer with us. In particular, the little Raider. He never got to go. He never got to pick up the last objective. He was sitting right next to it when mean MC30, who activated first. Hey, let's just walk through what this amazing little irritating ship pulled off this turn.
So the MC80 or the MC30 activated first, and it was situated right between the Raider and the ISD at range 1, band of 1 of each, 1 on either side. So it went ahead and fired at the Raider first. It had 3 black dice, 2 red, and then it got 2 more red dice from Akbar.
So that little tiny ship had 2 7 dice attacks.
2 7 dice attacks, which is almost the same output as the MC80 will have.
Yeah.
So it shot the Raider.
He lit the Raider first and did, what was it, 12 points of damage?
About 12 points of damage. 10 and the assault concussion missiles went off. So yeah, 12 points of damage. Rolled really well.
So yeah, he would have one-shotted it even if it was completely intact.
Yeah.
It just blew up. It was gone. And then
the other side plowed into the ISD. Didn't get any crits, so I didn't activate my concussion missiles, but I still did an accuracy to get rid of his brace, and still had 5 hits on the ship itself. So took off some shields and put a few more points of damage into it. And then drove away to safety over here because it's moving speed 4, so it just got out of dodge and avoided any retaliatory shots. I think it's taken 2 points of shields this whole game.
Yeah, it's basically not been shot at much this whole game. And then the ISD opened up immediately. Well, he had a chance and he fired. Actually got a decent battery off on Home One. Home One is and then rammed Home One.
Yes.
because screw you, Admiral Akbar. The ISD is in really bad shape. It's probably going to go down next turn. He's got 0 shields, 0 shields, 0 shields. Oh, he has no shields.
He has no shields.
He's
and
0
hit point left.
and 1 hit point left. He's taken 10 of his 11. It's looking bad. Akbar's ship is down to 2, 1, 0, and 1. He's also not in decent shape, but he's only taken one point of damage.
Oh, he healed us 1 point of damage.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Of course.
Akbar's been doing, engineering commands a bunch, so he's been getting 3 shields back every turn, or moving shields around.
And the Gladiator was caught, it was on the far side of the battle, and these guys just zipped out of the way, especially with the MC30 moving 4. So he took some long-range pot shots, didn't do anything. The fighters actually the squadrons ended up in a decent position. They put a point of damage or 2 on the Defiance, and that's about it. And we're headed into 5. All right, we're on turn 5. See anything missing from this board? The mighty Imperial Star Destroyer is down. He was down to his last hit point, and Akbar activated first, and just blew him away with like 7 points of damage. Nothing you could do, no redirects, no nothing. So he went down, and at that point it was pretty much over, but it's okay. The Imperial fleet does not give up, and the Gladiator is still turning around. He used an engineering token. Basically our ships, other than that, there was just token shots where our fleets are kind of too far away from each other. The squadrons took a pot shot, put a point of damage on the Defiance, and then they're all zipping towards the, trying to get in front of it and getting near the repair station. The Gladiator, as I was saying, he's swinging around and he ran engineering to build some of his shields back. And that's pretty much all we got. We're headed into turn 6. It is the final turn of the game, and we will bring that to you, and then we'll add it all up. Talk to you guys soon. It's turn 6 and it is all over. We have a Rebel victory, which we could see on turn 5. The Gladiator survived. He's been swinging around trying to get back to the action, but there's just no way. He's too far away. The MC30 is swinging back this way to face him. If there was a turn 7, there'd be some shooting and some harsh words exchanged. And the Defiance just is swung over next to the station. And the surviving squadrons peppered him with shots, did a point of damage, and that is how the game ended. So, on the objectives, which was worth 75 points for whoever got more of them, it all came down to on turn 4 when the Raider was destroyed before it got to move, because if it had got, all it had to do was activate, because as soon as it activated, it was on the 3rd objective. But Admiral Abe cleverly saw that, and that's why the MC30 activated before the Defiance, even though the Defiance could do much more damage. He was in the MC30 was in the perfect location to lay into the Raider 2 turns back and blew him up. So because of that, I couldn't get that 3rd token. So on objectives, we're tied 2-2, and so nobody gets it. And then as far as general victory points go, I have a Gladiator left. He has both of his, so I have my medium ship, and he has his big ship and medium. And I do have my squadrons left, which added in the total, but he's clearly ahead. So that is a good, solid Rebel victory. It was a super good game, really fun. We both learned a whole lot of stuff, and it felt like it really was a game up to about turn 5.
Yeah, it's a great game.
So it was really, turns 3 and 4 were just fantastic, and we were all in it, and just, we will get back to you back on the bridges of our newly rebuilt starships, and we'll talk to you about what we learned. All right, so back on the bridge of my newly rebuilt Star Destroyer, because I had to flee my last Star Destroyer in a small yellow dinghy. It was this was our Wave 2 game, and it was really good. We got to try out all of the new ships. The Imperial Star Destroyer, it is exactly what you expected. Those 1 or 2 times when I could actually get it in range, and I was using gunnery teams, and I was able to do 8 dice on one ship and 8 dice on the other ship, and I was running it pretty plain. I mean, in general, I went for max ships this game, whereas Abe went for a smaller amount of ships with lots of upgrades, so I was running mine fairly plain Jane, but it was definitely able to put out the damage, which was really fantastic. The Raider is a fantastic ship. I love the Raider. I like the Raider a lot more than the Gladiator. It's cheap. It's being able to have something that can go speed 4 is just phenomenal. This was the game where I wanted to test it out, running fast and using the advanced concussion missiles and Screed, and it did work. It did die, but I mean, you can't hold a small ship. You can't hold it against a small ship to be blown up when you end up taking a full broadside from Admiral Akbar at range 1. So, but I mean, that one turn, that guy swung from way out of position into really close range on the Rebel assault frigate and put 7 points of damage into it and finish it off for a ship that was worth less than 50 points. So, really, I think that I'm definitely going to be investigating more experiments in that direction. Lessons learned from this game. The home one, well, the MC80 is a beast, and advanced projectors are just amazing. Advanced projectors on large ships, advanced projectors just scale up, and they become, so much more effective on a ship with that many shields, and it's just constantly moving around, because it's not that we didn't do huge amounts of damage to the Defiance. We did. We were just putting crazy amounts of damage into it, but, it had advanced projectors, so it's able to move all those damaged shields all over the place. And then it's running engineering all the time, and it has various upgrade cards. I'll let Admiral Abe talk more about that. But those large ships running with lots of defensive upgrades and running engineering a lot makes them just incredibly these huge behemoths that are just incredibly difficult to bring down. And at the end of the game, we both traded ships. Towards the middle of the game, it was looking pretty good, and then I just kept doing damage to him. He was repairing that damage about as fast as I was doing it, and I wasn't able to repair. And it was the damage piled up, and the numbers got away from me. But fantastic game. Wave 2 looks like it's just an entirely different beast. Armada is just so much richer and just a really fun game. And I'll be back. I have a new fleet. I'm already on the drawing board. So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Bulls fans, Abe here, end of the game. Pretty good victory for the Rebels, and just a really great experience getting to try out the new Wave 2 stuff. The Imperial Star Destroyer, model-wise, definitely is the standout of the wave. I mean, just seeing that across the table is an intimidating thing, and it's really cool. But I think in a lot of ways, the Rebels have actually benefited more from this wave. The MC80, the big Home One class ship, really changes the way the Rebels are able to play a game, get those big broadsides as with Akbar, and really go toe-to-toe with the Imperials instead of playing a kind of skirting around fightery game. So that thing was amazing. It put out a lot of firepower. I got a couple times where I got double broadsides. That was just great, and it can take a pounding just using engineering tokens and engineering commands repeatedly. I think Larry probably did about 20 points of damage to it over the course of the game, and they all went on shields. I was spreading my shields around, redirecting stuff, and then building my shields back up every turn. So it was pretty tough to kill. It didn't actually take a single hull point by the end of the game. It took one that I repaired from RAM, but nothing got through those shields, and it put out decent firepower. But to me, really the standout of the game was the MC30. It's a ship that a lot of people have been talking about and not knowing really what to do with it, but that ship has a bright future. Being able to put out 7 dice broadsides with Akbar out of each side puts it, on the same damage output as the MC80. In fact, it puts it higher than the MC80 because it has those black dice, and it can take the ordnance upgrades. So it can take assault proton torpedoes and do automatic crits, or it can take the assault concussion missiles and do splash damage, or it can, and because it can take turbo lasers and that, it can actually take lots of things to expand its armaments even more. So it's a really flexible ship, and it can put out a huge broadside. It can also take gunnery teams, so it can fire twice out of one side, and it can move at speed 4, which means it goes wherever it wants. Having the initiative with that ship, being able to run in somebody at somewhere, fire out massive broadsides, and then scoot away is pretty scary. So I think that's really the ship to watch. It does what the Rebels have already been doing, but it does it really better in a lot of ways, whereas the MC80, the Home One class ship, really changes the whole Rebel game. So they're both really interesting ships. Wave 2 has added a lot to this game. This particular battle was really a great experience, getting to see all that. It's a fun time, learned a lot. Really to focus, especially with these kind of fleets that don't have a lot of fighters, really focusing on maneuvering and then engineering to get back your ships is really great. The engineering team, the engine teams on the MC80, letting that thing actually boost makes it more maneuverable and fast, and as fast as an Imperial Star Destroyer lets it go, basically speed 3. That was really cool too. So awesome game, fun times, got to try some stuff out, and really see how Wave 2 has added a lot to this game. So we'll see you later.